I think we want to just share a few quick tips with you guys as you head into the holiday season, but you can use these at any time. But we do know that family gatherings can be a huge source of stress for a couple. And so we wanted to just give you these so you can think about them and think about them ahead of time now when your stress is not high yet, so that you can be thinking clearly. But there's a couple questions you can ask yourself and that you can discuss as a couple. And one of them is just, what are my expectations of my in-laws during the holidays? What might be their expectations of us? Do we know them? Are they communicated? And maybe we need some clarity and to have a conversation that clarifies things so that the expectations are made known and they don't remain hidden and unspoken.
Can I just say that what you're talking about right now isn't just for the holidays. This is about your life and you being the unique you.
Yeah.
If I go to church and I'm acting the way that I think everyone expects me to act, and I only say the things in Sunday school that I think other people want to hear, well, guess what? No one's going to learn my perspective. No one's going to learn from that. If I go on a family vacation to your family's house and I'm just doing what is expected of me and I'm not being me, well, all of a sudden now, whenever we're with your family, you don't get me.
Yeah, I get a different version.
You get a different version of me, and that's not sexy.
That's not sexy. Another question we can ask ourselves is like, how can I help my in-laws feel loved and included in a way that also feels awesome for me, right? It's just having these thoughts in the back of our mind brings new creativity and new ways of thinking about things. So maybe just by thinking about it, you're going to develop something new to feel very connected to your in-laws that have nothing to do with expectations. Another one is, how can I show an added measure of compassion to my in-laws, during the holiday seasons? Because it's going to maybe be stressful for them with their list of expectations.
And understanding that they're unique too.
Yes. Compassion can go a long way.
Yeah.
How can I create at least one special moment between us during that time? I love that because that's a very simple thing, right? Just to focus on one moment. Like, I'm just going to go over and do this one thing with them, even if it lasts for 1 minute.
It's like a big fight that you get into, and then you both say sorry.
Yeah. And here's another one. Like, let's say there has been some tension, or there's just some things that have been unsettled as you're going into the holidays. You could ask yourself, like, what's one thing I could do to kind of de-escalate that as we head into the holidays? And if you do that ahead of time, that will also help lower some of the stress during the holidays.
Can I add a point on that?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's just take, for example, your dad and my dad.
Yes.
Both of them have lost their hearing.
Yes.
And it makes it very difficult when you're trying to communicate with somebody who has lost their hearing. Mm-hmm. Because then it seems like they're just talking about themselves all the time because they can't hear anyone else. So all they can do is just talk.
Yeah.
And so having compassion on that is one thing. But also, if you know that that's a problem, like we know that's a problem with our fathers. If there's something that I want to say to my dad or you want to say to your dad, we need to figure out what's the best way to have that moment with them where they can actually hear what we're saying.
Yeah.
Because it is very stressful when we're trying to have a conversation and they can't hear and they'll say, what, every 2 minutes? What'd you say? And it's frustrating. Or they just talk right over you.
Yeah.
Because they can't hear what you're saying. And that is a very difficult thing. And then you try to explain it to them and they can't even hear your explanation. Like, why are you frustrated with me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm frustrated with you because of this, and this, and you can't hear me. Well, they just keep talking and then they never heard what you said.
Yeah.
So there's practical things too that we have to consider.
Yes, that's so true. I think that there's a way also as a husband and wife to say, you know what, as we go into these holidays and as we go to that family dinner, knowing that there might be some stressful moments, is to decide ahead of time on some things that you guys want to do as a couple, right? If you feel like, hey, maybe staying at their house for 8 hours has not turned out so well.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to try 4 hours this time, right? Is to kind of set some healthy boundaries ahead of time as a couple. And as you guys are approaching the holidays and making plans with extended family, here's something that is very sexy and awesome for the couple, is to say, we have discussed these upcoming things and we have decided this is what we'd like to do, or this is how we'd like to participate or contribute. This shows so much unity.
Yeah.
And it shows that you're on my side, I'm on your side, and we're a team. And it's not that we're against our family, but we are making decisions together in a way to do what is best for us so that we also have the best experience and so that we can show up as our authentic selves
Yeah.
without all the expectations that we might have for them either.
And if you don't have that conversation, then you're going to be disappointed.
Yes. And so when we can say things like, well, we wanted to do something a little different this time, or we wanted to bring, this over this time, it can breathe new life into something that may be difficult. But also, I think this is kind of a fun one, is to come up with a code between husband and wife, like, hey, things are a little bit intense right now. I may need a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
Right? So I can just maybe take a walk, breathe deeply, collect my thoughts, and then come back to the moment without things escalating to levels where they're just like the damage is being done and we don't want to come back, right? Like we have so much power to do preventative work.
Yeah.
And then just to use what we decide on at those times.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt to have a quick, like, hey, show me your boobs.
That's always going to calm the husband, right?
Just real quick.
Just real quick. Real quick. So, like I think I had an aunt that told me when she was in situations that she didn't like, she's Spanish. And so she would tug on her ear and then her nose, like irnos, like it's time to take a break or it's time to go.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is a good opportunity to kind of collaborate and come up with a little code, between husband and wife. And that's also unifying and sexy. Like if I give you the signal, I need you to back me up. I need us to exit for a little bit. And I think one of our biggest points in this podcast, in this episode, is to give you some of these things to think about ahead of time. Do not wait for the holidays when things are piling up and the stresses are increasing. Do some of this work now. Do it this week. So for me, I'm challenging everybody who's listening to talk with your spouse about the upcoming holidays. And I want to give you 2 challenges to do within 1 week. And that is, consider your in-laws. And if you're going to buy them gifts for Christmas, buy those now, right? Like let's knock one thing off the list, right? To lower stress and to reach out to them in a positive way that is full of compassion and love. Considering the holidays. And then the second one is to come up with that code with your spouse. Like, hey, I think I need a quick little break.
Yeah.
I challenge you guys to at least do each of those things, because then during the holidays, when you know that you're going into those potentially stressful situations united with your spouse, that's sexy. Mm-hmm. And you can feel like your spouse has got your back during those times. And those are the types of thoughts and emotions that create that closeness, that increase that natural desire to want to be with one another, and totally fosters and contributes to intimacy. Those kinds of things can get us in the mood. But if we never do them, then the stress of those moments will get us out of the mood.
Well, that's what makes you unique as a couple.
Yes.
And you're unique as an individual still because you've had that conversation and you've shared your individual opinion. And now you have the ability to compromise. But still, you as a unique individual are being heard. You as a unique individual are being heard. And now we're a unique couple, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And we're going to decide how to enjoy ourselves.
Yes. So that's one way that you guys can increase the sexiness in your uniqueness. Any final words?
No, uniqueness is sexy. And I know this is hard for some people because there are long traditions of certain things that are stressful for people, especially when you bring another element into your family through marriage.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but your priority once you get married is not your family, right? It's your spouse, right? You leave your family and cleave unto your spouse. That is sexy.
Yeah, it is.
And that'll bring you joy. And everyone else is going to have to learn what that means. So I think being open and honest and communicating those things with others who are going to have a hard time with that, that's important. But they'll respect it, right? Because they know that that's true. They know how awesome that is. And you know what? They may be jealous because they never were able to do that in their own lives. Yeah. And you might inspire them. No matter how old they are, they can always change.
Yeah, so true. So we hope that you will take these concepts and ponder on them throughout this week and actually apply them. And we know that as you do, you'll be able to lower your stress and increase the closeness that you guys have as a couple.
Yeah.
So remember, the more that you restore this type of intimacy with yourself, the more you restore it with your spouse. Thank you so much for listening today, and we hope you will join us again next week.